Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to stately Vaughan Manor. And today we're going to be talking about good books and bad books, and how sometimes we love bad books and hate good books. And I thought about this, I've been thinking about this mostly because of Garbogust, the reading event created by CriminOlly to celebrate trashy fiction, books that are considered by society at large to be trash. That doesn't mean they're bad books or that they're actually trash, just that they're considered to be so by society at large. And it's been a lot of fun. It's a fun reading event. It has caused some controversy, but that's okay. It's been fun. So my thoughts about trashy books or books that are considered trashy have evolved a bit over this month. And also I got to thinking about this because of some videos that Steve Donoghue has done recently where he's been confronting the fact that maybe some books that he really likes are trash. I disagree with him on some specific book that he was mentioning, The Son of Tarzan, which is a masterpiece. A masterpiece! It's a masterpiece. Anyway, it's inspired a bit by that, but mostly by kind of the tone that some people have when they review some classic books that they just don't like. And what really brought this up or made me make this video or made me think to make it was a couple of videos that came out yesterday. And one was from Jim's books, reading and stuff. He came out with a video called Moby Dick is Trash. Moby Dick is trash, which is absurd. So that video, which I'll talk a little bit about, and Shawn D Standfast came up with a video, Top 10 Detestable Authors, which makes you want to watch it right away, and I did. Shawn D Standfast, by the way, everything he does is interesting, and every video he makes is worth watching, just so you know. This one included. I disagreed strongly with his choices, but that's okay, because the way he did it was the right way to do it. But let's talk about Jim's video first, because Jim's video confused me. It's true, I am easily confused. But when I saw the title of this video, and then even when I watched the video and watched the whole thing, I wasn't sure whether he was serious or not. I couldn't tell whether he was just putting us on or whether he actually thinks Moby Dick is trash. Now, obviously, and this is the thing, it's obvious. Obviously, Moby Dick is not trash at all. It is an acknowledged masterpiece of literature. So it's not trash. It's entirely possible that you will not like it. A lot of people don't like Moby Dick, but it is certainly, obviously not trash. So that made me think that he's just kind of kidding. He does mention Garbogust. And I think kind of what he's saying is that by the rules, there are rules in Garbogust that CriminOlly came up with about what makes a book trash. And one of those things is it a killer animal book, which Moby Dick is. So if you just go by that rule, then Moby Dick would be trash. But of course it's not, you know. But I watched the video. I watched it twice, actually, because I couldn't figure out, is he serious or is he just kidding? But I read some of the comments, and you know what? I think Jim might be serious. I think he might actually think that Moby Dick is trash, when of course it is not. So, and I don't feel like I really need to defend Moby Dick. I feel like there are whole books talking about why this book is great. introductions, essays. There's a ton that's been written about Moby Dick and about why it's as important a work as it is and why it's a great book. A masterpiece of literature, in fact. So I don't feel like I need to defend it. And oddly, Jim seemed kind of caught up with the fact that, he mentioned Meg, the book about the giant killer shark, which I have not read, I have not read that book yet. I don't know why, but I haven't. And he says, well, what's the difference? They're both about giant killer sea monsters. And that made me think he can't be serious if he's making that comparison with a straight face. So I still think it might be a joke. I still think that whole video might be a joke, but I don't know. I don't know. But it's ridiculous. The whole idea that Moby Dick is trashy is just absurd. It's in fact a stupid thing to say if you're saying it with a straight face. But it's okay not to like Moby Dick, right? It's okay to read something that is an acknowledged classic and not like it, which I'll get into. So if he was serious, and I'm still not 100% sure that he was, this was wrong. It was just wrong. All respect to Jim, who makes great videos and is an awesome guy. But that is wrong. Now let's compare that to Shawn D. Standfast's 10 most detestable authors, right? And now it becomes clear right away when you watch the video that what he's actually saying is, these are the 10 authors I detest. He's read the work of these authors and he didn't like it, right? But they're all famous authors, including some great authors. Here's just a few that are on his list. Jane Austen, all the Bronte sisters are on here. F. Scott Fitzgerald, William Faulkner. You could be right on that one, Sean. Ernest Hemingway. So Sean's video, is an epic of wrongness. It's just wrong. But notice when you watch it, and you should watch all of his videos because he's great. Notice how he does it when he's talking about these authors. As wrong as he is, he says, I didn't like these authors. I detested their books, in fact. But if you watch the whole video, he makes clear that this is his personal opinion about how he feels about these books, and that his mind could change. That he mentions George Orwell, an author he used to detest and is now his favorite author, because his mind changed. He read it. He read his work again later in life, and felt differently about it. He saw what it was that was great about that author, and his mind changed. So he is open to change. So he is not, despite the title, he's always doing the clickbaity titles, this guy. So despite the title, if you actually watch the video, he's making it clear that these are not detestable books in themselves just because he doesn't like them. He's saying he doesn't like them. He doesn't see what is great about these books. He's missed it. He doesn't see it. Which is a very different thing than just saying, this book is garbage because I didn't like it. Now, this makes me think of my own tastes in literature, which are always impeccable, but this made me think of the classic book that I'm always slamming, which is The Sound and the Fury. I'll put a picture of it. I actually have a physical copy of this. I have no idea where it is. I think, I might have been in some kind of state and I might have buried it in the backyard, hoping it wouldn't rise and haunt me. But I did not have a good time reading The Sound and the Fury. In fact, the first time I was very confused for like the first half of it. I didn't know what was going on. And then I kind of figured out, oh, okay, multiple timelines going on at the same time and multiple viewpoints. And it's a confusing book if you just walk into it not expecting that. So I had to, after reading the first half of the book, I was tempted to DNF it, which is something I never do, ever. But I didn't because, my head would explode if I tried to DNF a book. So I had to go back to the very beginning, even though I had already read half of it, and start over. And then it became clear what was going on. And then I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Not a fun reading experience at all. Did not enjoy this book. Am I prepared to say it's trash, though? Well, there are other books I like better. Like, let's talk about this book. This is Tarzan and the Forbidden City. Tarzan and the Forbidden City by Edgar Rice Burroughs. I like this book a heck of a lot more than The Sound and the Fury. So obviously it's a better book, right? It's better because I liked it more. And I just started reading a book that I'm enjoying a lot, and that is Brian Lumley's Necroscope 3, The Source. I'm enjoying this a lot more than The Sound and the Fury. So Brian Lumley must be a better writer than William Faulkner, right? He has to be, because I like this book more than when I read... Than what? Than when I read The Sound and the... Yeah, he's better. No, of course he's not. I like him, though. Brian Lumley, I think, is actually an underrated writer. But that's another story. What about this book? Tarzan and the Forbidden City. Now, I love Edgar Rice Burroughs. He was a pulp adventure writer. And he was one of the best pulp adventure writers. And I happen to like pulp adventure an awful lot. And I love Edgar Rice Burroughs, man. He was great at what he did. But he had issues. I mean, he was nobody's... I don't think anybody would ever declare Edgar Rice Burroughs, a great American author. I don't think that would actually happen. As much as I might love him, I would not say he's a great American author. I think he was an important one in a lot of ways. And his books are entertaining as hell, and I love him. I love his work. But, now let's take this for example. This is Tarzan of the Forbidden City, Tarzan and the Forbidden City. This is book number 20 of Tarzan. He wrote this long after he felt like he should have been finished with Tarzan, but he kept pumping them out because they were in demand. And Tarzan and the Forbidden City, I picked this one up because I did enjoy it. More than The Sound and the Fury. It was a better reading experience. It is probably the worst Tarzan book. I'm pretty sure it is. Other Tarzan connoisseurs might have different opinions, but I think this is the worst Tarzan book. I mean, there's nothing new at all by this point in this book. We've seen everything in here over and over and over and over again. I don't think there's an original moment in this. It's pretty lackluster for an Edgar Rice Burroughs Tarzan story, but I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. Now, of course, because I am not insane, I'm not going to say that this is a better book than The Sound and the Fury. Just because I didn't enjoy The Sound and the Fury when I read it, that doesn't mean I'm prepared to say it's a bad book or that it's trash. That would be ridiculous. Obviously, I would be missing something from that book. Now, I think I understand why that book is acknowledged by most critics and readers as a masterpiece. Now, I don't think that's universal. But it almost is. Almost universally, it's considered a masterpiece, The Sound and the Fury. And many people they'll claim that it's their favorite book, which is shocking. But I see that. I acknowledge that The Sound and the Fury is not only a good book, but probably a great one. And just because I didn't enjoy it doesn't mean I would claim that it's bad. Even if I didn't see why, and I think I do, even if I didn't see why, even if I missed it completely, I wouldn't be prepared to say it was trash when so many critics and scholars have really looked at this thing for so long and said, this is great. It's more likely, and I would have to acknowledge that it would be more likely that I was just missing something, like I missed it. And I think that's what happens with a lot of classics. I think people read them, and if they don't like them, and I see this over and over again when people make reviews, they just say, well, this book sucks. Everybody says this book is great, but it sucks. This book's boring, or this book is this, or this book is that. But they might not say it's trash, but very often they'll say it's bad. Not all the time. Sometimes they say it correctly, like Shawn D. Standfast did, and just said, I don't see what's so great about it. That is perfectly fine. But if you're going to take a book that is so well regarded and say it's bad, it better be for reasons more than just I didn't like it or I didn't enjoy the reading experience. You have to have better reasons, than that. You have to have real reasons why all of these other people are just wrong and you were right. That's what I think. And that's why I would be careful, or for me personally, why I'd be careful about saying a book that I don't like is actually bad when it might not be. And this is also something to be conscious of, is that I know that just because I liked this book, that doesn't mean this is a good book, right? Just because I enjoyed reading it doesn't mean I don't see all of its glaring faults, okay? This is not a good book. This is a bad book. It just is. I love Edgar Rice Burroughs, but this is bad. And for a Tarzan book, it's bad. It's just not great. I enjoyed it though. And sometimes that happens, and that's okay. Sometimes you can read a book that is bad and you like it, and that's fine, I've probably talked about this long enough. Okay, guys, I've got something much more fun and positive tomorrow. Catch me tomorrow here at Stately Vaughan Manor.